Did you listen to Jeff and Professor Hamo in the morning? Here's what.
Wednesday morning on the hottest breakfast show in all of Africa. It's time to talk transport and car-free days and what's going to happen and where is it going.
Yes.
In the studio live today, folks. These are the experts. So listen up. If you have any questions, please tweet us at Koinange Jeff
As Hamo Prof.
with the hashtag
Jeff and Hamo on hot.
So, here in the studio live, Professor Paul Maringa, he's the PS for Public Works. We've got Engineer Michael Ochieng, Chief Engineer Metropolitan Development. And we've got Polycarp Kiruai. Did I get that right? Polycarp Kiruai.
Yes.
Secretariat Car Free. You mean there is a Secretariat Car Free? When was that put together?
We've been working on this concept for the last 2 years. Since
Lord.
July 2017. So it's not a new idea.
It's not new.
No.
You've been working on this.
Yes. As a government multi-agency platform.
Yes.
That brings together various departments of the Nairobi City Council government. And at the very least, 12 state departments of the national government. Yes.
So, you designated February 1st as the trial day. Is that what it is?
We're calling it the dry run.
Dry run,
Yeah,
yes.
It's going to be a dry run that will run from 8 to 6 o'clock in the evening.
On February the 1st.
Yeah, and the reason being, after spending a lot of time on the drawing board, we now do need to test our ideas. Very critical, we want to see the business volumes. We want to see how easy it is to organize the traders. We want to also test the mix and match of different kind of trading platforms. We're seeing greengrocers, mitumbas, shoes, high-end trading on the streets. We'll be bringing out food courts from such agencies as Java and others. We also expect to have a day of recreation, because a car-free day is really not so much about cars. And I think it's important for us to focus on that. Yeah?
Sure.
It's about the citizens coming into the urban spaces and owning them and utilizing them for their social and business activities. So we expect a little bit of skating, these street entertainers and preachers is the normal social day. So we want to test it, and then of course we'll be looking at some aspects of security.
Prof, we'll get to that in a moment. But first, what are the roads being affected this coming Friday?
Yes.
People want to know, what are the roads?
So obviously I think it's important to clarify two things. When the concept takes root, our intention is to have car-free days on Wednesdays and Saturdays. But we are also toying with the idea of Friday and Saturday, because obviously we don't want to interrupt normal business in the cities. So, and this is why we're going for the dry run. But for the current dry run that we're doing on Friday, we're only affecting one road, not roads. We're only closing Taifa Road. This is a stretch that joins Harambee Avenue and City Hall Way. And then we'll also close the sunken parking lot in front of Reinsurance Plaza. So it's a very small place. It's hardly likely to disrupt anything. Yes.
So that's it. That's the dry run.
That's the dry run. And then after the dry run, we'll take another 2 weeks to clean up and tighten our wraps. And then we'll expand the activity to include the area, not the roads, the area that is bounded by Harambee Avenue, City Hall Way, Taifa Road, and Moi Avenue. And I think, so that there's clear understanding, it basically means the traffic will be flowing generally around those roads, but then the area inside is going to be a pilot.
And then eventually, once people get used to this, what will we be talking about in the CBD? What parts of the CBD?
Now, the CBD that we want to, and again, I think it's important that we're careful with the words we use. The area where we want to restrict car access is going to be the area bounded by Haile Selassie Avenue, Uhuru Highway, University Way, and Moi Avenue. Again, implying those roads will act like a ring road around the city. So you can, vehicles are coming for security issues, must come in, and we should have still reasonable, well-controlled access to public offices, because public services still must be offered. Yeah, there is a possibility, and we are again considering that, because this is a work in progress, and it's a work in progress, teaming up together not just as governments, county and national governments, because as of next week we're going on a high drive of public participation So we'll be bringing every Kenyan in on the debate. So we do see a possibility of actually allowing access through Kenyatta Avenue for good reasons. Remember, all these activities are complementary. We have the BRT coming in, and the BRT actually has cross-city routes. One of the cross-city routes of the BRT is Kenyatta Avenue. The other one is Tomboya Street and Moi Avenue, and Haile Selassie and University Way. So those ones really must be kept open.
Yeah.
Yes.
People were asking, I mean, why are you going to consult the public after the fact? Shouldn't there have been public participation before you implemented this deal?
What usually a design starts in an engine room where you conceptualize ideas. And then once you're clear with your designs in the drawing room, then you go to the public and lay out. See, when you consult public, you have to be clear what concepts you're selling. So in our program, we're expecting throughout the month of February, we'll actually have a lot of public forums. But in the meantime, to clear up ideas, I can tell you we've been working very closely with a number of players who in every sense represent public that are stakeholders. For example, we've had a extensive consultation and actually put up a committee that includes the Nairobi County Government, various departments, the National Police, MCAs within the CBD, the MP for Starehe. This morning I have a meeting with several members of parliament. In the afternoon I have again extensive meetings with several CECs responsible for this activity in my office. We've had micro and small enterprise authorities as part of our consultative group. Chamber of Commerce has been a consultant. Central Business District Association are part of our team. Kenya National Hawkers Association, Kenya National Street Traders Association, the Maasai Market people are on board. Informed, organized hawking groups, and of course the Namata, the new Namata. So it's a process. Now we are ready, we think we have clear ideas, we should bring public on board. As you understand, when you go for public participation, the public wants to know what answers you have. Exactly.
So many questions from people out there. Let me bring Engineer on board. Engineer, tell us, will this thing work? When you look at it, will it work in a city like Nairobi with 6 million commuters every single day?
I think the concept of car-free day is not unique to Nairobi. It's a concept that has been there in many cities, in London, in The Hague, and many others. The key element is there a problem in terms of traffic congestion in Nairobi? How can we make better use of these spaces? And how can we look at the ability of people to transform? A lot of time is spent actually on the traffic jams within the city itself. I'll give you an example. For example, if you want to come from Koinange Street, your name.
After you're parking, Taifa Road.
Yes,
you're parking
they're affecting you.
To move to the Kenya Railways, for example.
Yes.
You'll find that if you try, some people try to use cars from that point to the other. But if you take a walk, you'll reach there much
quicker.
Yeah.
But there's no walking lane. That's the problem with the city. Where do you walk?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And those are part of the interventions. I think it's a multi-sect. You cannot look at the car-free thing without looking at the activities that are connecting with the BRT, the activities that are connecting with the non-motorized traffic strategies that are part of this strategy. Car-free is just one of the activities that we want to implement. And therefore, the way we are approaching it is to start with a test run. From the desk, where it has been designed, then you move towards the implementation. But even before you go to the public to discuss, you will do a small test run. And then when we meet the public, we will be having all the answers to be able to also enrich. I think what the public are saying is not bad. I mean, a lot of debate that is going on is healthy.
A lot. And we'll be reading some of the responses. Professor Maringa, let me ask you this. When we expect the BRTs to operate, do we know? Because I asked the governor last week, he said in the next few months.
No, it's going to happen very soon.
You see this? Everybody says very soon.
No, listen.
Even Valentine's is coming soon.
Very soon, 14. Yeah, it's going to happen very soon.
Yes.
We currently are involved in some negotiations and we don't want to prejudice in negotiations. As soon as we are through the negotiations, we're clear about where we want to buy the BRT buses. Kenha and Kura have been very busy setting up the basis for the halfway stations for the BRT and the ramps that we require. Those ones are contracts that I think we opened up last year in July. So really, the only handicap, and that's why the information is still close about the date, is to agree in the negotiations. So I expect very soon, and I don't want to talk about months.
Okay.
Very soon, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why, by the way, all these activities feed into one another. We have the car-free day. We have another one that seems to be dropped from the public limelight, and it's equally important. We have a concept we've been studying again for the last 2 years. We're calling it staggered working hours. Yeah, staggered working hours. Basically, we're saying in our studies, we've discovered the majority employer in Nairobi is the government and the county government of Nairobi. And unfortunately, the reason why we have this traffic snarl-up every morning is because everybody comes to work, reports to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. So, and you test it. If you know, on a day you don't have to be in here early, leave your house at 8:30 and you're in town in half an hour. Leave your house at 5, you're in town at 10 o'clock in 10 minutes. So we're saying in our studies, we've actually decided to separate government, the county government and national government, into 2 groups. One group, 50%, will be coming to work at 7 o'clock and leaving at 4. And the other group will be coming to work at 9 o'clock and leaving at 6. We work the same number of hours, we avoid the bottleneck. And our studies are showing that that decision alone, doesn't require any infrastructure arrangement, will scale down traffic by 20%.
Wow.
So we're thinking, because government leads and the rest of the industry follows, if the rest of the industry follows, then in a simple decision like that, within a month, we expect the traffic congestion to probably go down by 30 to 40%. And this is what also the car-free day is about, that we need to take ownership of urban spaces and begin to redefine what our urban spaces are like and how we use them. We're saying, for example, in the car-free day, what is our focus? Our focus is to remove the perennial conflicts between city council askaris and hawkers, because city council askaris have a right of providing security. Hawkers, on the other hand, and I like to call them itinerary traders, not hawkers, because hawkers has been stigmatized quite a bit. So our itinerary traders also have a right. See that? So can we have a win-win where we allow hawkers and into an area where we can actually declare a captive market of, as you said, 4 to 6 million Kenyans coming into the city. We tell them that the whole of the CBD has become like a supermarket. Conceptually, it's like a supermarket spreading out in the streets. We turn it into a supermarket with a rich mix of opportunities, right? So that in those 2 days, for 16 hours, and if you like, if the idea catches on, we'll let it go on after midnight. In those 2 days, our hawkers will make sufficient money to be comfortable to go back to Mudhuru and do normal business.
Is this the same kind of like a Maasai market they have in malls on Fridays and Saturdays? It's a Maasai market.
Exactly, and it's work, so the Maasai market. There's no reason why I can't work for everybody else.
And what if there's a competing business not paying the same overheads as the ones in the building? You know?
Again, we want to look at it conceptually in terms of the rules of economics. You understand the concepts of affiliate marketing. That you open a petrol station, you attract a certain market, and it makes sense for me to come and start a car wash right next to you and a vehicle repair. In a sense, then we synergize because we begin to attract markets that complement one another. Can you see that? So we're saying because of the car-free day, because of the I would say the urban redesign that we'll do to make sure that the whole CBD is walkable, is friendly, is like a park of sorts on those days. Because you're going to have to redesign it and do trees and sitting areas and the likes, all right, on the sides of the roads.
Yeah.
Because of that redesign, then we're saying the average Kenyan and Nairobian knows I can come into the city on a day where there'll be a supermarket all over for shopping. In a sense, and even the businesses that exist will benefit because we're attracting a market they normally don't have.
Okay, so there's a lot of confusion out there and a lot of responses. Let me just read a couple of tweets and you guys can respond. Steve Ogola. Car-free days is another abrupt maneuver that only serves to preserve City Hall's reputation for laziness and stubborn refusal to think. Although not outrightly illegal, lack of public participation and discernible public benefit and absence of exception will in totality make it illegal.
That's harsh.
Honorable William Chepkut.
Hey.
Listen to William Chepkut. Car-free days are effected in cities that have subway, metro lines, rail links, bike lanes, bike parks, mass bus transport, and some have waterways serving the CBD. Now look for these transport systems serving Nairobi CBD and tell me this is not a case of mad cow disease.
Yeah, I enjoy the liberty of Kenya in expressing this, but I think I want to encourage Kenyans. Rome was not built in a day, and we've got to start by walking. Yeah, we're busy. We've invested a lot on the viaducts in Nairobi. We're investing on the BRT. We're investing on all manner of transportation systems. You know, the BMIs, you know, commuter rail and the likes. You know, they will not fall in place, you know, at once. We've got to start somewhere. And I want to remind Kenyans also, this is not a drive by City Council to save its reputation. We've had discussions, intense discussions of committees for the last 2.5 years. And our focus, we also need to remember, is, as I said, the Mwananchi, the hawker.
Yeah.
The hawker is a voter. The hawker is, I think, one of the most vulnerable people living in this city. Somebody has to think about them and regularize the sort of business they do. When our good friend argues that there's no tangible benefit, I may want to drop a few figures. In our estimations, we've seen that per day of a car-free day, when we are doing the pilot, which only puts 5,000 stores in the city, we have a business volume turnaround of about 39.5 million Kenyan shillings per day. This is money we are putting in the hands of the hawkers and the Kenyan Mwananchi and the children and the families they represent. When we upscale to cover the CBD in Nairobi and a portion of Westlands that is bounded by the original main access to Westlands, Waiyaki Way, at the back there is a market, the street that goes to the market. On the right hand side, the old it's called Park Road, Mpaka Road.
Mpaka,
yeah. When we actually have the car-free day mapped in those areas, we're expecting to be able to bring on board about 100,000 stalls. Those are 100,000 individuals being fed. And that is 30% of all the hawkers in the city of Nairobi comfortably taken care of. The business volume then will shoot up to about 60 million shillings per day. And in a year, therefore, we're looking at a turnaround of what? 3.8 billion shillings. I mean, that is tangible benefit. And it's money that is coming directly into the pockets of the most vulnerable in Kenya. I think we need to refocus on that.
Okay.
What is the criteria ya kuleta nani anakuja ama ni wote ndani ni tukutanie ni tupangane?
As I said, we've worked with several hawker associations that listed the Mali Road. Wao ndio wanafanya kuchagua. But they use a criteria that is accountable to a committee. Ndio hakutaweza kuwa na kipendeleo. But there I want to urge Kenyans to also recognize the process we're going through. We have a dry run on one street this Friday. It is not a business opportunity. It is a design of the concept. So we shouldn't have everybody of the 300,000 hawkers and every MCA, a member of parliament, saying, na watu wangu. We are only going to require 70 people on Friday.
Have they booked? Is it first come, first serve?
No. You see, the organizations represent hawkers. They select. We say we want 70, they select. Using a transparent criteria.
Okay.
All right, that is accountable. They're accountable to their own people. And if for any reason there is any fraud, we are open. We'll talk about it. Yeah, but ideally, Friday is not a trading day. It's a design day, a testing day. When we do the pilot, we need 5,000 hawkers. Those ones have already been selected, and they've been selected again using their organizations. I was talking to the members of parliament who paid me a visit yesterday, and I said, if for any reason there is lack of transparency, if for any reason we are dealing with watu bandia ambao wanajifanya ni chairman na sio chairman, that is why I'm having a meeting with them today. We'll put them together.
So when you say it's not a trading day, what does that mean? No goods will be sold?
No, they'll be sold, but it's not an opportunity to fight for. It's part of a design process.
Okay.
We're testing
Okay.
the idea.
Let me ask
So if you're part of the 70, the other 300,000 itinerary traders or hawkers should be celebrating that we've selected 70 of them to try and build a bigger opportunity for the rest of them.
Polycarp, let me ask you this. So, who gets to clean up after all this? Because let's face it, it's going to be messy on Taifa Road the same evening or the next morning. And already the city is messy. Who gets to clean up?
Yeah, one of the things that we are having, we have the hawkers designated places. So that you have one parking designated to you. So one will task you to have that place cleaned after you have used it.
Are you going to guarantee that? I mean,
Secondly, we are involving the county and other support facilities. We increase the cleanup facilities, we increase the dustbins, so that now we can have a clean city even after having the workers have done their business.
Jeff, let me mention, we've, you know, as I told you, we've had committees sitting for the last 2 years. Yeah, we have a committee on security, we have a committee on sanitation, we have a committee on transportation. We've also been able to put together a code of conduct. And remember, every of these hawkers who comes in will be on a BVR. Yeah, we take your biodata. We take your biodata, you sign up to a code of ethics and conduct. Part of it is that cleaning up. You will not pay for the city. The license you get, because there will also be license. It's not just anybody who walks in, right. Because this is, you know, we're trying to sanitize the business of hawkers and say, it's not a business, and you have a right, right? So you sign up to a code of conduct so you can get your license, meaning that license can be revoked. All right, and what is even more, the persuasion for you to sign up is the business opportunity we're opening up for you, plus you're getting a store. You know, we have these collapsible stores that we made for them. Others are even more sophisticated. There are stores that you can roll like a car. So you can drive in with it, set your facility up, assemble it, and in the evening you fold it and leave. These stores are costing between 20, and you can see that. These stores are costing between 20 and 40,000 shillings. There are stores that have come to us, courtesy of benefactors, banks, your own media houses, philanthropists. All Kenyans are actually contributing to these, government parastatals. So you're getting this store free of charge, and obviously in exchange for good behavior, all right? In exchange for, you know, from here on, if you're told, come and trade in the CBD for 2 days, thereafter, we don't need the cops and robbers things. And I think because we've been talking to the hawkers through their representatives, we shouldn't have a problem with the cleanup.
And security will be guaranteed as well?
That is the other thing. I have realized, and we've learned that from the Nyumba Kumi and the community watch, policing system, that the best security is security by the people themselves. You see that? So we actually organize the hawkers themselves. A hawker is responsible to clean up his area of operation, but the hawker association, you know, if you say in a particular street, they take responsibility for security and clean up. Of course, they'll be backed up by the NYS, who have been part of our teams, the National Police, who also been part of our team. Is a relatively well thought out program. I think the only crisis we have is change management. We are afraid of new things, and it's okay to be afraid of new things. I'll equate it to a young couple when they receive their first child from hospital. It's a frightening experience, isn't it? and this is why culturally our mothers and our mothers-in-law will come and stay with us for about 2 weeks to tell us it's all right. The baby will leave.
It's normal.
It's normal.
This stranger in the house. What do we do with it?
And I want to encourage us by giving examples. I think the best example that I have is The Hague. The Hague, we've had discussions with and meetings with the professionals, urban designers, and planners from The Hague. And I was actually amazed to learn that between 50 and 70% of the population in Hague is a cycling and walking population. This is experiment of the car-free day. We're saying no cars in the CBD, but if you have a cycle and you're walking, you can come in. So you can see 50%.
50. I agree with that. But if we had a biking lane, if we had a walking lane, I'm sure it would encourage a lot of us, because we're afraid that matatu or that drunken guy in the PS in the private vehicle will come and slam us in the back, and we won't see it coming.
Jeff, that is the whole idea. We've been retooling ourselves in the Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing, and Public Works. And have agreed in principle, as a matter of policy, that we are going to acknowledge again. You see, is a reality we don't realize. It's true here in Kenya. In Hague, officially, 50% of people cycle and walk. In Kenya, unofficially, but it's a fact, 50% of people coming to work actually walk. Do you know that?
Yeah, because you have no choice.
Exactly.
You have no money.
And you see, the walking environments are not designed. So we are recognizing that for every highway that we build, we want an alternative highway for people to walk. Meaning, I give you 4 lanes for cars, I must give you a full lane, 4 meters wide, for people to walk. And it's a lane that is going to have, be built like a parking. So you have sitting areas, picnic areas. It is fully treed. We are beginning to recognize I would call it the generic purpose of urban settlements. Urban settlements are designed to be consumed by people. They're not designed for cars. There's a flaw in the design of our cities these days. That every time you're designing a city, all we think about is Kenyatta Highway, Uhuru Highway. Yeah, and then after the car, where do the people go? So you're concerned. We definitely are driving the initiative to make sure there is sufficient pedestrianization, not incidental pedestrianization. And I think you can begin to see that increasingly, like along Jogoo Road, we're building a relatively big walkways. Because that's where most of the people come from.
Correct.
Bagathi Way, as you expand Bagathi Way, you can be sure the Kibera people will be taken care of. And then the concept, and this is also going to be a bit of a mindset issue, the concept that a human being crossing a zebra crossing is treated like a literal zebra. You're afraid. It's a zebra out of the jungle. That one has to disappear. But even if you have to sit in there with our cars and wait for five minutes for the human beings to cross, because the road is for the human beings.
By the way, they do that everywhere else in the world. It's just Nairobi or Kenya. Kwani when is zebra? When is zebra?
So you see, like the debate we're having in here, and that's why I like to focus this debate on benefit to Mwananchi.
Let me ask you
business
this.
opportunity, not arguments that we can access the town.
Prof, let me ask you this. Boniface Mwangi tweeted a couple of days ago. We're talking about the biking routes, right? Mike Sonko has a bylaw not allowing bicycles in the CBD. I didn't know that. So can we cycle to the city on car-free days? He asks.
As I said, we've had committees. We also have a committee on legislation. And we've actually studied all the legislation that needs to change. And because we are saying we want people to walk and cycle, that is one of the legislation that has been on the spotlight. This week we are refining our discussion on this legislation to be sure that proper enactment is carried out to facilitate our targeting, the car-free day.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would love to cycle to work. Can you imagine? I'd love
From
to cycle.
Kitusuru?
Yes. Yeah.
Remember also, physiotherapists will tell us that the easiest route to a healthy nation is when you're a walking nation.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
I imagine a situation whereby sitting on Capitol Hill where my office is, during the lunchtime I can walk down with my packed lunch.
Yes, and sit on a bench.
Exactly. We meet with you somewhere in town, have lunch, share a couple of days, and I walk back again.
back.
Yeah, in an environment that is free. Without, this is the other thing, in this nation, we need to break down these social hierarchies we set up for ourselves. Like you talk to the average person, he says, I don't want to go into town because I'm unsafe. That is a concept. You sit in a park in the city of Nairobi, and you can see a mheshimiwa around the corner, and salute him, then you're feeling actually effectively represented. These are the cities you want to. Yes. So there's a broader concept to all this.
Is that a pipe dream or is that achievable, Prof?
Well, listen, we're human beings with 2 eyes and two legs and 2 hands, like everybody else in Amsterdam. For God's sake, if I can do it, why not her? And by the way, why do we need to wait for other people's examples to drive ourselves towards ideas? Why are we allowing countries like Rwanda, Kigali, and now recently Ethiopia to literally steal ideas?
Engineer, you were saying something?
Yes, I was just confirming that, literally we design ours to be even better than what has been. Well, this concept is being implemented elsewhere. We can implement ours better. We have to start somewhere. It's a challenge. There's fear that, the fear of unknown, that will it work or will it not work. But if there is a problem related to the congestion in the city, something has to be done. What is this thing that has to be done? One of the concepts is the one we are putting across. We are refining it. We are not saying we are perfect at the beginning. We are allowing a lot of public consultation to come in, and that will inform the design of the system to meet the expectations of most Kenyans. And we believe it will work.
Rare Melanin tweets are coming in thick and fast. Rare Melanin says, thanks for the clarification, Mr. Car-Free Days.
Yes.
The idea sounds workable.
Thank you.
Unaona Ngongo Kiari
Goma anasemaje?
anasema when fully implemented, Nairobi City will have a market day. The same thing we do in the villages.
Oh, okay.
The same thing.
Yeah, you see, the villagization is what humanizes people in the villages. Yeah, it breaks down barriers. Our temperatures and suspicion disappear.
It's the great equalizer.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Moses Kipngati says, say hi to Aishimiwa. I usually come to town every Fridays from UNEP. Where will I be dropped? Let's say this thing kicks off, right?
Yeah.
But then you said it would be Wednesdays and Saturdays, or maybe Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, yeah.
So if it's a Friday and it's implemented, where will that matatu drop?
yeah, you can see I said we are creating a ring road around the CBD. Conceptually, I think we need to understand we're not close in the city. So if you're coming from Westlands, you basically have access to town along Waiyakiwe. Yeah, and we are the same ones who design the bus stops. I mean, it's the whole government working together and the county government. So anywhere along Waiyakiwe, or if we can go around to Globe Cinema, all right, you can be dropped in all those places. If you can come around again to Tomboya Street or Moi Avenue, because you also have access to Moi Avenue.
Right.
I said we are toying with the idea, and not just toying, I think it will be a reality, that you can also penetrate the CBD through Kenyatta Avenue. So you have access.
Right.
Yeah, okay,
It's not-
obviously we don't expect any bus stops along Uhuru Highway, because that's a thoroughfare. But if you want to reach the southern end of the city, anywhere along Haile Selassie, like as you know, once you pass the entrance to Parliament, there's a lay-by that brings you near some petrol station, just before KRA. You can be dropped there. The city is accessible, and all we're asking you to do is come out of your car, for God's sake, and enjoy walking and mingling with the Mwananchis. What's the big deal? But I wanted to point out one thing, Jeff, a side benefit that we probably are forgetting. With the Car-Free Day, we're saying we're giving free stalls to the hawkers. Now, interestingly, these stalls, we've insisted, we've signed framework agreements, are going to be done by the Juakali and nobody else. So it's not a big businessman's dream, the Juakali. So like the ones we've shown you in the images here, we've been working with them, with architects and engineers from Public Works and urban development, all right? And we've helped them develop an easy approach towards fabrication. So far, they fabricated about 70 stalls, and we're beginning to churn them out now as the benefactors come on board. Now, imagine when we hit the mark of 100,000 of those stalls, Sam Juakali fella is smiling all the way home. Again, it's benefit to who? The Mwananchi. We are not allowing big industries to break into this.
How much will each stall cost, or let's say the license to operate?
We'll be signing leases. As much as we give you a free store, we want accountability. So you get a license from the county government. Then we sign a lease with you. And we means the committee that is managing this, which includes the hawkers themselves. Now, in the lease, we expect to be collecting anywhere between, and I think this should be captured clearly because I've had figures, astronomical figures, 50 and 100 shillings. 50 and 100 shillings.
For the day?
For the day. But again, it's open to negotiation. You remember, we're trying to create business for these people. Should we find that is a challenge, we can scale down. But I think 50 to 100 is reasonable. Right. Now, the reason why you pay this money is not so that we can pocket it as government. No. We are trying to set up a kitty to guarantee sustainability. Because your store will be good for the next 2-3 years. What happens after that? Zarikari's idea. No, we don't want that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's a kind of a revolving fund to make sure that even as we grow, remember the concept is if it works in Nairobi, it will work in Kisumu, it will work in Eldoret, it will work in Mombasa, it will work in Nakuru. If it works for the CBD, like I said in Nairobi, then since we're building hubs around the city, like Mololongo should have a hub that is self-sustaining, we'll take it in there. And that stops the migration of these itinerary traders looking for business.
Prof, I have to ask you this question before I let you guys go. They say Nairobi should have been a lot like Washington, D.C. or in Abuja. In other words, part of the whole metropolitan, part of the national government and not a county. Because there's so many roadblocks and challenges and, people taking you to court and people not supporting this an initiative like this. What do you think? Should Nairobi ever have been a county on its own?
Now, those are administrative issues.
You have already answered my question, bro.
They're administrative issues and evolutionary issues. Counties, in a sense, must be, to me, self-sustaining economic entities. Now, Nairobi happens to be the capital of the nation, is the nerve center of the nation. And I think it's a little bit difficult to have to separate Nairobi from the rest of the nation because all of us have a part in it, a stake in it. So I think the best we can do is elevate to the level of the county that it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you get the support as a national government? Are you working in synergy with
well, by the way, I can tell you the partnership since elections, the partnership between the national government and counties across the board is phenomenal. You cannot believe it. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's incredible. You remember the Constitution basically gave the national government a mandate to mentor and build capacity in the county governments. It's finally working. Yeah, with the counties, we've seen they're open to the mentoring, they're open to common ideas. There is no conflict. And that is why, as I was telling you, for the last 2 years, since July 2017, we've actually been meeting sometimes literally every week on Tuesdays for at least 3-4 hours to plan urban regeneration. This is actually one of the pillars of the urban regeneration. Yeah, and there are very many issues we're looking at urban regeneration. I'll share with you an interesting concept. We've been talking and saying, why do people move from Buruburu to take their child to Lavington? It's because of a perception that the school in Lavington is better than the one in Buruburu.
Yeah.
So the Ministry of Education has taken that up to make sure there is uniform quality of education in terms of buildings, infrastructure, equipment, and the quality of teachers. So that as much as possible, like it happens in Japan.
And the same color buses.
Same color buses. we also saw a situation whereby every school hires a bus to take their kids to school. And this is one market. And so you find that like in an estate like Kawasukari where I live, in Kawasukari we have several schools in there and every school has school buses that are busing kids when they're half full. All right, these are the sort of things we're looking at. Harmonizing and improving efficiency of operations in the city across the board as the two governments.
Nice. Quick question from Nelly Mwongeli. So I operate a business within CBD. How do I commute to my meetings and pick goods to and from the CBD to deliver? Will I be able to pick an Uber from the CBD?
I said would have considered controlled access. Yeah, that has to be secondary to the primary purpose of those car-free days. And by the way, these are 2 days in a week. I don't know why we are, making a storm out of a teacup. There are 2 days in 7 days, and one of those days is a weekend. All right, and Kenyans, you can move a trolley in. A couple of meters and get your car, isn't it? Yeah. This preoccupation with motor vehicles.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you remember cities are designed for human beings, and everywhere where we can surrender, seize ground of the motor vehicle to the human being, I think we have better people. Yes.
I just wanted to add.
Go on, engineer.
The paths and routes which have been enumerated very clearly indicate that we are not closing the city because the concept has been the whole city will come to a
shut down.
down. It is very clear that the main roads will not even be touched at the beginning. That is the Moi Avenue will not be touched. We are talking about El Selassie Avenue will not be touched. And some of these are the routes where matatus pass. Kenyatta Avenue will not be touched. University Way will not be touched. So this concept that this car-free is meant to literally shut the whole city is a misconceived idea, and it doesn't come from us. The car-free is meant to deal with the artery roads inside the CBD, while access will still be enabled. If Kenyatta Avenue is left open, if Moi Avenue is left open, you can access any part of the city. So this is the thing that I want to demystify, so that people should not come on fast on Friday and think that, what we are doing is you will not be accessible. You will be accessible. In fact, the main concept of Taifa Road will just be our trial test, and it will be insignificant in terms of the effect to the city. So we encourage everybody, the Matatus and so on. I also had a conversation with Matatu saying we again want to test them from CBD. We're far from that. That is not in the plan, and they will have their access to wherever destinations they are going without any interference.
And in any case, I'm looking at my list of activities here, and I can see public participation starting 7 February.
Where will it be? City Hall or your?
We'll do City Hall, we'll do KICC, we'll go to the Matatu spots. This is an accountable government, and I think it's a lot more important that we listen to the fears of the average Kenyan and assure them that we've considered that.
Polycarp, let me get some final thoughts from you going forward. What do you tell people? How do you reassure Nairobians that this is a good deal?
I want to, especially the young people, being a young person, this is an opportunity for the young people, especially the workers, the informal traders. For us, the government is giving us an opportunity to show up and do some business and take some responsibility in the society. So I would like to urge everyone, let's take responsibility of making our city clean, making our city important and useful for every one of us.
All right, Professor, before I give you the final word, there's Kamenyi, all the way from Chengdu, China. He's listening to the show. He says, Salimia Waishimi, he says, these ideas are good. He says, in Chengdu, things are organized and we can cycle from place to place. I pray that we can implement that. I see one day Kenya being a superpower in Africa.
I salute him. I've been to Chengdu, a beautiful city.
Really?
Absolutely. It's very well organized. But it's driven by, I would say, a hot economy, very strong economy.
And what's the population, plus minus, of Chengdu?
I do not remember, but I think it could be anywhere to about 10, 15 million. It's a very big city. But we're not very far behind. As I say, the day population in Nairobi is 7 million. Our night population is 3 million. So we have a minimum of 4 million commuting in and out of Nairobi. So, yeah. But we'll learn from cities like Chengdu that I visited in.
Yeah. Prof, you get the final word going forward. Again, February 1st is the first day.
It's a first day. It's a dry run. We're only closing one street, Taifa Road, and the Asanking parking lot. It's a day to test the idea. Thereafter, we begin redesign and extensive public participation, so Kenyans don't be frustrated. We'll take your ideas on board. And be encouraged to be brave as Kenyans. There is no way we're going to develop our country driven by fear, rather by embracing open ideas. Yes.
Wonderful. Fantastic. Thank you so much for clearing the air, gentlemen. We really appreciate that, and I'm sure you'll be coming here more often as this venture goes on, and we wish you all the very best of luck. We are in the studio live. Professor Paul Maringa is the PS for Public Works, Engineer Michael Ochieng, Chief Engineer Metropolitan Development, and Polycarp Kiruai from the Car Free Secretariat. Gentlemen, thanks again.
Thank you.
This is what we call
Candid interviews with Nunge and Professor Hemo every day, Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Hot 96.